Welcome back to another episode of NFL News on the Boomer Bust channel. I'm your host, Terry, and today we're going to talk about the Pat Mahomes contract. And this not going to be a general thing. I'm going to start off with general thoughts, but we're going to get into the nitty gritty. We're going to get into the details because a lot of casual fans just don't understand contracts. And I talked about this when, I did the Roquan. I talked about Roquan Smith from my Chicago Bears when he was holding out, and you just realize how many fans just say a lot of misinformation. So, I understand that, but if that's your thing, you want to hear the details, then we're going to get into it. Let me start off with my first impression. So the first thing I thought when I saw Mahomes, signed this deal, I wasn't shocked that Mahomes got a new deal. Obviously, that makes sense. I wasn't shocked by the number. What shocked me was the length of the contract. So I was talking to my brother the other day, and I was talking to him about leasing a car versus buying a car. And I was comparing it to LeBron James and what he does in the NBA, because to me, that's very similar. For a long time, especially in the NBA with guaranteed contracts, it made sense to have a longer term contract because now I signed for 10 years, pretty much no matter what, I'm getting 10 years worth of my money. However, LeBron switched up the style a little bit when he said it's more important to me to have freedom, and he started signing shorter term deals because I want to be able to go where I want if I want to switch it up, but also I want to be able to negotiate more because the league continues to get more money, and the longer I'm under contract, the less my contract is worth. And so he switched up that style, and you see that a lot with the NBA. And the NFL, we see that growing. A lot of quarterbacks trying to do different things with contracts because they got the leverage. And so one of the things that we hear holding up the Dak Prescott contract, one of the things we hear about a lot of younger, quarterbacks is they'll be looking for shorter term deals because the money's going up and they want to continue to make new contracts so I could get more money. That makes sense. However, some people like the security. And so, like I was saying with the car, like if you want to be able to pivot, go to new type of car, or you just want the updated car, or you want to whatever, like that lease, might be a better option for you because you're able to do things. But if you just want to make sure that you have a car, like you solid, then that buying a longer term, that might be better for you. So some people value security, some people value freedom. And it's up to the player, but we see the trend moving towards freedom. And not only freedom to move around, but freedom to negotiate more money. Now, seeing Mahomes sign a 10-year deal, it was crazy because it's like Mahomes, more than anybody, has the power to, if anybody was going to do a short-term deal, it would be Mahomes. Like Mahomes could, really restructure his contract. If Mahomes told the Chiefs, look, I'm going to demand a trade. I'm going to sit out unless you set up my contract where it's a 1+1 starting this year. So I'm under contract this year and I got a player option at the summer if I want to come back. He could do that because not only is Mahomes young or accomplished, he's super young. So it's almost unheard of. I mean, you got Wentz, you got Goff, a couple other people that have done this at this, third year in the league, but they haven't accomplished nearly what Mahomes has. So he has the ultimate leverage. So if anybody wants to do a short-term contract, you would think it'd be Mahomes. However, he chose to go long-term. And so to me, I'm like, there has to be something in this contract that is absolutely great that we don't know about. And most of the time we don't know the full stories of the contract. Or he just really loves Kansas City. I'm like, that was my first thought. And so we start to hear more about last night. We heard kind of the figures, 500, 3 million, blah, blah, blah. And that stuff doesn't excite me a whole bunch. We'll get into it. But we kind of understood what it was, and it was like, wow, okay, that's what Pat Mahomes did. That's a lot of money. That makes sense. Now we got more details. And so, again, the details specifically will never come out unless it's leaked. But if we're trusting the reporters here, the respected reporters, I'm going to go through some of these details, and we're going to talk about his contract. But, that's who I'm basing it off of, if you was wondering. I guess I could link the article, and the one that I'm using. But anyway, let's get into these details, because I'm gonna tell you, overall, it's not a great contract. It's not necessarily a great contract. So let's start with the new money. And the way I'm going to break this down when we're talking about guaranteed money, that's what matters. Obviously, the full deal, it doesn't matter as much, because that's not always guaranteed, because this is the NFL. But when we're talking about guaranteed money, there's levels to it. Whether we're talking about bonuses, is what some people use that term, whatever. We'll use bonuses. Bonuses work like liquidity in finance. So the most liquid thing you can have is cash. I could take cash to the store. Usually you could take cash to just regular people, whatever, and you can get what you want if you got enough cash. The second level would be like having it in a bank. Like, obviously we got credit cards and mobile banking right now. So you can use it to get what you want, but it has to go through the credit card to the bank. Bank has to approve it. Boom. You got a middleman. With cash, there is no middleman. So cash is the most liquid. I got the cash. Give me what I want. With the bank, that's next. You got, okay, here's the middleman. Give me what I want. Then you start talking about savings accounts, where it's your money, but it's limits on how and when you can take it out. You start talking about CDs, bonds, stocks, all that type of stuff, which represents money, but it's not money that you have in your hand. So when we're talking about bonuses, the most liquid bonus is a sign-in bonus. And so, or guaranteed money at sign-in, whatever the people call it. So basically that's just what they pay you to sign the contract. Like, if the contract was exactly what it was, and it was like, Mahomes, this is our contract, let's sign it. And he was like, nah, I don't know. And they was like, well, we'll give you more money if you just sign it. Okay, that's a signing bonus. Literally all you do is sign it. And so Mahomes, for his signing bonus, got $10 million. $10 million. That is nothing. That is nothing in terms of a signing bonus. That is trash. You're talking about Ryan Tannehill had a $20 million signing bonus. Like, bro, you Pat Mahomes. So the only thing that Pat Mahomes walks away with today is that $10 million signing bonus. That's the most liquid money that he got. He signed the contract. That's his. All right. Next up is your workout bonuses. Hey, show up to 90% of the workouts in the off season, we'll give you $5 million. Boom, not hard. Roster bonuses. Okay, you make the roster by whatever date. You still on the roster. You'll have a roster bonus. So we'll give you your salary for the year, which they pay you every game. We'll also throw in your roster bonus every game because you're still on the roster. So those two are the next level. You just got to be on the roster and you got to go through the workouts. So not hard to get. Then after that, you talk about stats-based or achievement-based bonuses, or what people call incentives, or kickers, whatever they call it. That's when we're talking about MVPs, Pro Bowls, all that stuff. So we'll get to that. So again, Pat Mahomes got $10 million. That was his signing bonus. Now, After that, as far as his workout bonuses, they're throughout the contract. I don't really know where they are. And really, it doesn't matter as much, his workout bonuses or whatever, because his roster bonus is the most important. Because if you're not on the roster, the workout stuffs don't always matter as much. Because, or I wouldn't say as much, they don't matter at all. Because if they cut you before the workout start, you're not getting no workout bonuses. So anyway, the roster bonus is the big part, because that makes sure that you're on the roster. What Pat Mahomes did is that when he signed the contract, he got $10 million right away. But he also guaranteed his roster bonus, and he guaranteed his salary for the next 3 years. So the 2020 season, the 2021 season, and the 2022 season. All of those are guaranteed right now. So basically, that just means that if you cut him right now, if you cut Mahomes today, you owe him that money for the next 3 years. And so it's guaranteed in a sense, but you still got to earn it, because you still have to be there. Because if you get hurt or, retire or whatever, it's done. They don't have to pay you that money. And if they cut you, like, they owe you that money, so it makes it harder for them to cut you. That's what happened at his signing. Now, the next part is a little complicated, so I'm going to need you to follow me. What he essentially did is got a double up. So right now he has the next 3 years spoken for. However, next year, and I think his contract said the third day of the new league year, which is, I want to say in March or something like that. And so when the third day after the new league year in 2021, once the 2021 league year starts and he's still on the roster, that guarantees his 2023 salary. So basically, if he plays this season, he's got 2 years guaranteed left. And then if he makes it to the start of the league year, he's got a third year added on. And then next year, 2022, it adds another year of guaranteed money. And so it just continues to pile up. And there's one weird year where it does a half a year, and then it links up where it's just 1 year. So for right now, it's going to look like 2 years, because in 2021, that's going to trigger 2023. So now he's got another additional year, and boom, boom, boom. So throughout the contract, he levels up a year in advance. So to make it simple, once again, if it was just 3 years, or you signed him today and he played the season and he got to 2021, instead of saying, okay, my salary for this season is guaranteed, even if you cut me right now, it says my salary for this season and next season is guaranteed. So it's kind of like a 2-for-1. And so his contract is built up to trigger the year in advance. So as long as he makes it to 1 year, he gets another year in advance guaranteed. So it could be a little complicated, but that's essentially what he set up. Now, he also has a no trade clause. So what his contract does is it makes it really hard for the Chiefs to cut him. Because if you cut him, like I said today, you don't only owe him for this season, you owe him for the next 2 seasons. And that's dead money that you got to pay. Roster bonus money plus the salary. And so if you wait until next year, it's going to be another year tacked on. And then if you wait until the year after that, it's going to be another year tacked on. So for every year you get him to play, he adds an extra year of guaranteed money. So it's really hard to cut him without essentially owing 3 years of dead money. And so that's one of the unique things about his contract. and that it's on the third day of the league year, because essentially if you do have a guarantee, because most players don't have a guaranteed salary, so they could cut you at any time and they don't got to pay you. But if you do have a guaranteed salary, usually they'll try to get it closer to the season as far as the date when it's guaranteed. Because if they do that, then they can wait all off season and then cut you. And then, you screwed. And so that's what they like to do to continue to have power. But Mahomes has it as the third day of the new league year. So that means for whatever reason, if they wanted to cut him, they would have to do it right at the beginning of March as free agency is starting. And so that means he would be right on the market. So it sets up these mechanisms, as they say, where the Chiefs, if they cut him, they would have to swallow a lot of money because they can't trade him. Now, the other side of that is he still isn't making, and we haven't seen the base salary breakdown, or at least I haven't, but he still isn't making a whole lot of money in his base salary yet, because this is an extension. He's still on his rookie deal for 2 years, and they've changed some money around, so it's going to be different, but it's roughly the same. So his base salary isn't huge. Where he makes his money is in his roster bonuses and then in his incentives. So there's incentives about him winning MVP and getting X amount of money. Super Bowl, you get X amount of money. I heard winning the conference, the AFC East or West, winning AFC West, you get a certain amount of money. And I'm sure there's like All Pro, Pro Bowl. I'm sure there's like plenty of incentives in there. But again, that's what Mahomes has to do. So the team doesn't have to, if he does it, that helps them. We all win. But if he doesn't do it, that he's the only one that's losing. So let's say they keep Mahomes for the next 12 years and they never make the playoffs again. He's going to get a good chunk of the money, but there's a big chunk of money he won't get because he didn't reach any of those milestones. And so that's a way to safeguard the team from just having to pay him if he doesn't play well. So there's the kind of catch-22 with that. And so it kind of works both ways. Now, the thing that a lot of people are saying is, why would you cut Mahomes? This is a good deal because most people, if you know Mahomes or if you expect Mahomes to be as good as he's been, most people would say, well, there's no reason for you to cut him. So this is pretty much a guaranteed contract. I think it's silly because a lot of people are like, why would you think Mahomes would change? Why would you think anybody? You know how many people had good seasons? You know how many people had a good stretch in their career? Nothing is guaranteed. These are people, not robots. He could have a career-ending injury. He could have a mental breakdown and not want to play football anymore. He could regress. It's a lot of things that could happen. So we could say virtually guaranteed, but nothing's really guaranteed but that $10 million he signed. And I guess technically his next 3 seasons are guaranteed, but even still, it depends on how it went down. Because I'm pretty sure if you retire or something, it doesn't work. And the contract probably has a language in there, that prevents any of that. So, pretty much you would have to cut Pat Mahomes to owe him that money. And otherwise, if he leaves the league any other way, I'm pretty sure the Chiefs will be safe. So, but again, people talk like it's virtually guaranteed. Not really. If everything goes according to plan, then yes, he could hit the money. But as I said, if you keep him for the next 12 years and he doesn't make any accomplishments, there's still a big chunk of money that the team is saving. So there's that. Now, with all that being said, like I said, he's got $10 million in new money, or not new money, in money today. There's a lot of numbers out there about his new money that wasn't there in his old contract. So he's probably got roster bonuses in the next 2 years that he didn't have before. He probably has workout bonuses in the next 2 years he didn't have before. Obviously, he has a no trade clause now. And so there's new money, but again, that's stuff that he has to earn. And so for me, I look at this contract and I come away even feeling the same way even more. He must really love Kansas City because this is a team-friendly deal. From the signing bonus, as I said, Tannehill got double that. And he's Tannehill. I'm telling you, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I've seen other contracts that the signing bonus is way bigger. So even starting off there, then you think about how it's kind of backloaded. Like I said, he has 2 more years on his rookie deal. The base salary isn't significantly different. There's different bonuses, but pretty much for the short term, he's not going to hit the cap really hard. After a certain time, that's when he's going to hit the cap really hard. And I saw somewhere in the article, I think a lot of people were talking about 2025, and I know he has a real huge roster bonus in the year of 2027. And like I said, I haven't seen the year by year breakdowns, but as you can tell, like for the short term, his money isn't going to hit the cap like that because he's still working with a lower salary. And so it depends. Again, it's those incentives. Will he hit this? Then he can make more money. But as just a general contract, bro, the huge hits ain't coming till later. And yes, they make it hard for you to cut them, but it's still not impossible. Like some people's like, it's not impossible. Like I said, let's say you get to 2024. So that's 4 seasons from now. And that's around when people are talking about renegotiation anyway. But let's say you get to 2024, and I want to make sure. So if you get to 2020, actually this is a little tough. But if you get to 2024, then his he's pretty much locked up until 2025. And so that's not bad. You get to 2024 and you decide something happened and you needed to cut him, you would pretty much be locked in for 2 seasons. And so whatever his roster bonus is, whatever his salary is, let's say it's a huge hit. Let's just say it's $45 million dead money each year. So you got $90 million of dead money. That's a lot of money, yes. But you could say, let's just take the hit right now so we don't have to deal with this contract, for the rest of the term. And so you could take the L and just move on from Mahomes. So it's not impossible. Like, again, it is very, first of all, you don't have to do this in the NBA or baseball. You would never even need this type of structure because your stuff's already guaranteed. But my point, this is the NFL, so you can cut them. You could take the hit, but you can still cut them. But so it's a team-friendly deal, man. I mean, it's a decent balance. It's hard for me to say that one person won, but I think the Chiefs really won this contract. But I think Mahomes, it's hard to say because Mahomes obviously wanted this. He said he wanted to play there for a long time, and this is going to make that happen. And so a lot of people feel like they're going to renegotiate the contract. That's very possible. But if we're just looking at it today, people are like, oh my God, $500 million. Like, bro, he honestly doesn't have a whole lot of money in the short term. Like, over the course of it, yes, there's a lot of money he can earn, but right now in the short term, the next 3 years especially, I mean, it doesn't blow you out of the water for what you think a Mahomes could do. I mean, and yeah, actually, I gotta take my statement back. The Chiefs absolutely won this because Mahomes could have asked for some crazy stuff. As I said before, people got to realize it's difficult. Contract law is a whole degree and everything, so it's not easy. But one thing to help you understand is the the law of the four corners. That means whatever's on the four corners of the page is what the law is, because you could put virtually anything in that contract. Obviously, that's not illegal. And so Mahomes could have asked for some crazy stuff. And you know what I mean? He could have asked for a $200 million signing bonus. And so instead of having all these roster bonuses, he could say, give me that money right now and we'll, spread it thin. He could have did that. He could have said, hey, he could have pulled, I forgot who that was, but they've done it in other sports. He could pull it where he says, you know what? I'll take this short amount of, or I'll take the smaller amount of salary and whatever, but you owe me $50 million after I retire, $5 million a year. He could have said that. They could write that in the contract. And so now he takes $50 million out of the equation, but you owe him that once he retires. So let's say he had a career-ending injury this season and he had to retire. Most of the deal is gone, but now you owe him $50 million over the course of 10 years. So he could have said that. He could have said, every Super Bowl I win, I get 2% stake in the ownership of the Chiefs. He could have said, you got to name the stadium after me he could have said a lot of stuff. Is my point. And so when you talk about having that much power, and this is exactly why it is so important for people to understand contracts, because even me, I'm not a huge LeBron fan as a person. But one thing I understood is that he has to take the deals that he does. He has, because I used to get on him when I was younger real bad about that, especially in the Heat. Like, bro, you just take less money. And Brady, like Brady does, take less money. You going to the Heat, y'all could have had a real whip if y'all could have just compromised. They were like, we taking less money. And then LeBron, like, I'm not going to be the one to take less money. Like, all that stuff. I'm like, bro, y'all just greedy. But what I started to realize is you're working in the market and you are the market setter. So if you ask for $15 million, then Joe Blow can't ask for $20 million. They're going to say LeBron not getting that. So LeBron has to ask for the highest price because it raises the price for everybody else. And so with Mahomes, that's why this deal is so crazy because nobody has leverage like Mahomes has. And I don't think they ever will, because he didn't play his first year. So let's just throw that out. He essentially has won MVP in the Super Bowl in 2 seasons. And so, I mean, I guess somebody could win the Super Bowl and the MVP both years, but that's not far off from what he did. So if that player comes along, yeah, they can have that leverage. But is that likely to happen? I don't know. And so Mahomes probably has the most leverage that we've seen because he's a quarterback. Like, if somebody came in, let's just say, I don't know, at this point, it would probably have to be a pass rusher, and they broke the sack record both their first 2 years, and they won defensive MVP both those 2 years, and they won a Super Bowl both those 2 years, I still don't think they would have as much leverage as Mahomes. So I think Mahomes has the most leverage we've ever seen a player have. And to think about what he could have asked for, it's crazy to look at this deal. But also on top of that, we know a lot of money is coming the NFL's way. And that's why a lot of people are trying to get shorter term contracts so they can be around for the big pie. And the Chiefs could easily renegotiate. Mahomes, they could negotiate whatever, and they could change the things up to get him more money. But the Chiefs don't have to. And they don't have to because you set it up. You set yourself up not only to lock them to you, but you lock yourself to them. Because they could look at it and be like, bro, by this date, we got 3 seasons we on the hook for. We're on hook for next 3 seasons with you. Why would we give you more money? Why would we switch the deal up? Like, you asked for this. You locked into this. And now what you're making doesn't look as big compared to what other people are making. And everybody cries about Jamal Adams and everything where they say, oh my God, like he outplayed his contract. He should get paid what he's worth. What you think is going to happen to Mahomes if he stay as good as he is and the inflation happens and now his money is slightly different than, Joe Burrow's money or whoever? People going to be like, Mahomes deserves more. Mahomes signed this contract. So it's a good deal. It's some good stuff for Mahomes, but overall, like it just no flexibility. But he said he wanted a long-term security deal, and that's what he got. So maybe to Mahomes, this is a great deal. But for me looking at it, it is interesting to say the least. It's not horrible, but it's a team-friendly deal. Absolutely. All right, that's it for me. Go to the comment section. Let me know what you think about the contract. Share it around. Get the conversation started. Thumbs up, subscribe, and thank you for listening.